Welcome to Home's Room. Just like Homeroom, we start off our day getting together with our homies, swapping stories, even a little kiss and tell action. This podcast contains language not suitable for younger listeners, topics about sex and mental health. Discretion is advised. Our views are our own. Let class begin. Welcome back. We have one of those fun buddy check-ins, and I think these are important, whether they get like a ton of listens or you guys are just like, oh my god, shut up you two, whatever. They're good to illustrate the fact that you can have buddy check-ins and you should have buddy check-ins. So I gotta have a buddy to have a buddy check-in. What's up, buddy?
Hey, hi, I hate spring in the Midwest.
Yeah, that is a thing that happens.
This is attempt 2 of us sitting down to record this episode because we were in a tornado warning and there was actually a tornado touchdown 10 miles southwest of us, but we are all good. At this point, we're just hoping that hail does not damage our house again because our insurance premium went up. So we're shopping around for a new policy. All adult things that I barely understand myself, Matt. So
yeah, I feel that. Adding to the buddy check-in of like, yeah, how's your mental health? That's a thing that wears on your mental health. So I said that there was something that I wanted to say, I have a note for, and I made sure to stick it to my computer, not just on my sticky pad or my sticky notepad, like that's in front of my computer, because that's the one I just jot stuff down on. So when I'm working, I see it. Putting it on my computer, so I remember to say it. Guess what, Kaitlin?
What?
This is episode 99. So the next episode we record together, whether there's an interview in between or not, I'm not going to count it. Our episode is the next episode we record together is going to be episode number 100 in the order. So congratulations, we made it to 100.
Triple dig, dude. Oh my goodness. I promise you it doesn't feel like 100 episodes.
Well, it's because you don't edit them.
I know, I don't. You do so much. Oh my gosh.
No, it's not really that bad. Any opportunity to poke some fun at you. Speaking of which, how's your new girlfriend? You made a girlfriend last episode.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny you say that. I was just recurling my hair and putting on just the teeniest little bit of makeup, and I recorded a Get Ready With Me, which I posted on TikTok, where I gave a shout out to Alyssa with Pretzely Truck. And I was like, I've said it to her. I've said it to a couple TikTok mutuals, but I just feel really convicted to just post this to the ethers of the internet for anybody else who needs to hear it. You're doing the hard work. Your success is inevitable. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Yeah, we adore her. Definitely following like her fitness page, but so we interviewed her as we were recording this just a few days ago, like 3 or 4 days ago. Her TikTok is still continuing to blow up. She's at over like 24K. It's insane. Yeah. Absolutely insane, the growth that she's seeing.
Yep, that's a good
Congrats,
thing.
Alyssa. Shout out. That's awesome.
We're hopefully going to go see her this weekend, as long as it doesn't rain and cancel Busker, which is a thing that goes on in Lawrence, which is, part of why we love living here, because it's like big city vibes with small town soul. So it's a good combination. But starting off this buddy check-in, how are you? How are you feeling?
I'm okay, homie. We're all right. I don't actually really quite know where to start.
That's fair. As you should. It kind of ends up being that way. Especially I feel like literally the changing of seasons. So like as we're getting ready to enter physically a new season, it's acceptable. It makes sense.
What about you, homie?
Now that that awkward silence is there, I feel like I don't want to talk. I don't know. No. So I said I wanted to do a buddy check-in because there's a lot that's, I don't want to say on my mind necessarily, but in our existence of the podcast, we know stuff that happens behind the scenes, so we know a little bit more about what's going on with each other than like we can talk about on the show. But also the fact that the show was almost done and I was ready to pull the ripcord because it's just like one more thing that I have to do. And not that like I don't have the like dedication to do it, not that I don't have it's just got to be like equal levels of fun, equal levels of like rewarding in some way, and like going somewhere. And it doesn't matter to me what the project is. If it's not going somewhere, then like I kind of like, is it worth my time if it's not going somewhere? And you know, it's kind of like I stopped playing derby because it started to feel that way. And you know, it's like if this is like the pinnacle of what it is, I've done it. I've done my part in it. We got, you know, as of right now, 99 episodes. So I can't say that like I didn't try, I didn't put in the effort. You know, I did everything I kind of wanted to do. And if this is what it is, then like I was fine with being done. And you had some feels about that, I feel like.
Yes. I still have feels about it. You said it created the perfect environment to have a not fun conversation with my husband.
Yeah.
It was after one episode, a couple episodes ago, when we were done recording, Matt was like, I think next week might be the last episode. Like, I'm just not. And it took me by surprise to hear you say that. I understood immediately where you were coming from, because I also had my own podcast and quit or put it on an extended pause. Who knows? I might come back to that someday. We'll see. But it's a lot of work and it's very thankless. So if you don't know why you're doing it or like what the motivation for is, it just feels like a chore or it's not fun anymore. Like I understood immediately where you were coming from with it. But then we sat down to record our last episode. And after that episode was done, you said, you know what? No, fuck that. I'm going to keep doing this. And so I just want to check in with you to see where you're at with all of that, in terms of creatively and just in your own personal self-fulfillment. Like, are there things in particular that are frustrating you about it, or is it just not as fun?
Getting interviews definitely helps, because like that's the thing, is like having new and like good conversations is like the main goal. Again, you know, whether like 5 people listen or 500 people listen, you know, or 5,000 people listen or 500,000 people listen, it doesn't really, like, that part is, you know, equal parts luck, equal parts effort. I think, you know, somebody's got to hear it. You got to put it in the right spot for people to see it. Like, there's just so much that goes into that like it's controllable, but also not controllable. So I don't necessarily focus so much on that, but the conversations have to be good and not surface level conversations. And I feel like I have enough of those in my day that like sitting down to record a surface level conversation, or like a conversation where like we're holding back, or, you know, I'm not like, not that you're not a fun person to talk to, but like talking to people and hearing stories, or, you know, inspiring the people that are listening to this is like the original goal. And it you know, somewhere along the lines, like once that stops being attainable, or we're no longer like getting those comments back, which we aren't getting those comments back as much as we were, it's like, okay, well, like I keep kind of putting it out there, like, what do you want to hear? What do you not want to hear? And it's like, when people kind of respond to that and we put out an episode that is that, and then that's like the worst performing episode we have, it's like, okay, well, that wasn't true. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But, you know, as far as where I'm at right now, like I'm excited because we have some interviews coming up. I'm searching for some people. I'm trying to get some ideas for that. So, you know, if you have people that you want to, you know, you think you would want to hear us have a conversation with, or you yourself are like, I would love to talk to them because they're fucking funny or because whatever, like reach out and, maybe we can set up an interview. It's super simple, but like, that's the thing is like, I think too many people are hiding, and I think too many people are, so willing to like have a false face just because they're scared. And I don't have any more space for that. And I don't have any more like occupiable like acquaintances spaces for people who want to be that way. So it's just
Yeah.
kind of like, maybe I could go do something else. Maybe I, whatever. So that's where I was at before. But now it's like, as long as we can continue to get good topics, good episodes, then we can keep going. But again, it's like I hate the fuck out of it now because it's a douchey guy that said it. But way back in the day, Jesse James, West Coast Choppers, he was like the king of fabrication. So anybody that was like a fabricator into that kind of thing back in the day, like that was a guy that like you looked up to as far as like what was the standard of like effort put in. And he said, I will never justify effort spent, time spent, money spent, anything. If I don't like the thing, then it's done. I'm not going to continue to put my effort into it. I will start over. I will rebuild. I'll do whatever I have to do. But if I'm not like completely into it, then it's worthless to me. And I definitely like felt that. And that's one of those like guiding light things to me is like, it's okay to feel that way. And it's okay to have a creative process and to be like, you know what? I was enjoying this. I'm not enjoying this. Something's off about it. I don't know what it is. Is it fixable? Is it not fixable? And I don't know how you feel about stuff like this, but when you're in a thing, it's a lot easier to think, no, I do love this, than when you have like, a 30,000 foot view of it. And then you're like, you know what? I don't. And that's kind of how Derby was for me, is like, once I stepped back and I had like a 30,000 foot view of it, I was like, I really don't know if I want to be in this anymore. Maybe I don't. And then I made the decision to not, So, yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does. And yet again, I'm floored at how graceful and tactful you are when it comes to shit like this. I mentioned that I had a podcast. I do this fun thing where I hobby jump.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably ADHD. But when I'm like fixated on something, like I live, breathe it. Like, oh my gosh, like I have to do this. Like this is so much fun. I love it. I love it. But then I go at it too hard.
Yeah.
And burn out. And then I get to the point where it makes me physically nauseous. And then it starts this fun cycle of, I can't do this anymore. It's not sustainable. It's doing more harm than it is good.
Mm-hmm.
I have to stop. And then I feel like a failure. So I feel like I'm once again amazed at my friend Matt for having emotional intelligence that I hope to have just a quarter of at some point in my life. We'll see.
Well, so that's the thing is, what started the like want for this buddy check-in is like emotional intelligence in itself. And that's like one of the things for me, like, we've talked to some sex educators and sexperts, if you will, and knowing yourself and knowing what you want and all that kind of stuff is like a huge part of like feeling fulfilled on a physical side, but also knowing what you need on like a mental health side is important too. And I think that the seeds of knowledge that those people have don't necessarily only have to be I guess attuned to the bedroom. Sometimes it's just important to know that like that's a need that you have and be able to identify your needs. And like for me, emotional intelligence and like emotional connection is like probably the most important thing I need. And that's from like anybody. It doesn't have to necessarily be like my wife. It could be a friend or even a stranger on the internet. If there's no like emotion in what we're having a conversation about, to me it's like worthless. It like literally sucks my soul. It is the opposite of like a rejuvenating thing. And one of the things that like Alyssa said and you said after we recorded the other day was like, I think that actually might have been during the recording she said it, but it's like how much she needed that. And like she thought, man, I might have a good cry after this, but like a good like releasing cry, because
Mm-hmm.
like I needed this conversation. Like I feel so much better now. And like that's how I hope people walk away from the episodes that we record. But also you've said it enough that like that's like good. I'm glad that you feel that way. But for me, in like my life and who I am, and obviously as you've been on the other side of it, uh I'm almost always the person that like makes somebody feel that way. And
Mm-hmm.
like I've started to kind of feel like I'm a facilitator. I'm not necessarily like, it's never like reciprocated to me. It's almost always like people are like you just said, you know, like you're just so eloquent or tactful in the way that you said that thing. And they're like, man, that just makes me feel better. And at work, it's like, man, you're just such a calming force. Like I love it. And you know, I go somewhere and everybody's like, that dude's chill. I could go stand over there and just like chill. But like, don't then offer up chill back, or don't, you know, they just like absorb it like a sponge. And I think that's
Mm.
kind of a shitty way to like to be for a prolonged time. So I think that's a lot of what was like hanging me up before, if that makes sense. Does that make
Ugh,
sense?
100%. It makes sense. It makes sense to you get like a weird spidey sense about
Mm-hmm.
friends. I feel like you're so in tune with yourself and those around you that it's totally valid to feel that way. What are some ways that, in a perfect world, how would you feel supported in those moments instead of let me go hang out with Matt because he's grounded energy and he's chill. I'm gonna soak up his chill like a sponge. Like, is that the opportunity the opportunity that person turns and looks at you and is like, you're chill, but like, are you?
No, so like realistically, organic conversation is like my favorite thing. So like if you have something to say, I'm not going to drag it out of you, and I think that's why a lot of people feel safe, is because I'm not going to like just pester you with questions and drag it out of you. If you have something to say, if like I if you're listening to this, you've heard me have conversations enough that you know that like I ask insightful questions or ask questions and I make people go, "Ooh, nobody's ever asked me that before," because I want to know the deeper thing behind it. I genuinely want to know. So like if you're going to volunteer some information and it's like I can tell by your response that you kind of want to talk about it, but like you're just beating around the bush, it's like, okay, I might ask one probing question to see if it'll open the conversation, but after that, that's on you. If you don't want to talk about it, I've clearly showed you like my interest, so like it's kind of just but I think, like I said, organic conversation. But more than anything else, like the analogy that I used with Courtney the other day was, think of it like a bank. If you go to a bank, you never put money in, and obviously banks don't specifically work like this. I'm thinking of like a Western bank where like it was cash, not like digital. But you go to a bank that you never put money in, and then you're like, hey, I want to make a withdrawal. They're gonna look at you like, what the fuck? You don't have money here. No, you can't make a withdrawal. And then you come back the next day and you're like, yo, I want to make a withdrawal, and they're like, no, you don't put, like, your money physically is not in this bank. You don't put anything in here to like then take something out. So no, walk away. I have a problem with that part.
Mm.
People will continuously make withdrawals, but then not actively put, you know, an emotional connection back. They rely on it to go one direction and like get their juice, get their feel. And then it's like, yo, do you need a hug? Hey, so like you were talking to me the other day about this super important thing to you, and something happened and like we didn't get to finish that conversation. What were you saying? And like show a level of like care beyond, now the conversation's over and I can talk about me, or now the conversation is like shifted and like that reminds me of the story that I was going to tell you, or whatever. Like um the like common practice now is send, you know, reels to people left and right, and you know, people laugh, react at them, or you send like 50 and like nobody says anything, but like they send you a bunch and then you send a bunch. I always find it really funny. I'll send like one, maybe two to somebody, or a bunch of somebody's, and they'll send me like 37. And if I don't react to their 37, generally it's like, are you okay? You seem off. Meanwhile, the one that I sent them above that 37 is still sitting there. And actually, the way the reads like bubble works, I can tell that you haven't even seen that one because you're still above it. So that means you sent me those and never opened this message. So I sent you a thing that you never looked at. So like you just showed me that I'm not important. And then because I don't respond to that, hey, are you okay? Then I'll get a reaction to that reel. Like, oh yeah, you realize that like I said something 3 days ago and you still never said anything about it. And now you're like pestering me for like, you know, some buddy energy. And that's fucking weird. I don't know. I don't like it.
That's so valid. And now I'm sitting here trying to chew through it because I know I've been both sides of that. I've been that person. I probably have been that person to you, Matt, like all the time. I'm constantly like, fuck, I like, you know, I don't know if you've noticed. It's okay if you haven't. And I'm not trying to say this to be self-congratulatory at all. I really have tried in the last 2-3 weeks to be more active in my responses and be timely in my responses. I'm still not using Instagram all the time, every day, but I'm trying to show up to be a better, like teammate, partner, co-host for this with you, because I do genuinely believe it. I enjoy it. So I need to start acting like I enjoy it because hello, it's a team.
Yeah.
But I know I've been that person, but I also, it's so interesting now that I'm sitting here chewing through it as well, because to be that person that is like, you haven't responded to my messages, but also still desire to get the level of support that you're not giving other people. I love that we sat down and interviewed Alyssa, owner operator Presley Truck. Please check them out. Because it like reconvicted that thing in me that was like, I need to tell more people this. I need to tell more people, like, you're doing the work. Your success is inevitable. Keep doing, keep working, keep grinding. And I don't think I've done that to you. Hello?
Yeah, you have. You did.
I have. I know I did it after Alyssa hopped off. I said something like that along those lines too, but it's like I wish, like, yes, I wish that some people, not you, but like other people in my like, oh my gosh, hold on. Circling back. Creative discussion with my husband when I said, yeah, I think homeroom's done. You know, it sucks. Like, you know, that's an hour every week while we're actively recording that I can set aside for just creative expression and to just yap. And I love to yap. You know, y'all know I love to yap. But also that's a friendship that I've come to really treasure, because you, like I've told you before off camera, I'll tell you on camera now too. Like, I really appreciate that you are a friend of mine that's not in law enforcement. I don't have many of those. And he was like, oh, well, that's like, really? Like, why? And I said, you know, it's a thankless job. Creatives have a hard time chugging through while it's a thankless job. Sometimes it feels like the support's not there. And he's like, oh man, that sucks. And I was like, how many episodes have you listened to? How many of my TikToks have you watched? And I yap a lot. There's some things on my social media that I know for a fact that he would not agree with. But it's like, don't be surprised that I come to you and tell you that this is a thing that may or may not be ending, when I also know you haven't really made any solid efforts to support me in it or support us in this. So I think it's valid. It's super fucking human, and it's a huge issue with podcasting in general. But I'd also like to remind you, we are not just a statistic. 99 episodes in podcasting is huge.
Yeah,
that's huge.
So one of my biggest things right now that irritates the ever loving fuck out of me is when I hear somebody talk about a podcast and they're like, they've said before, oh, well, you know, when I mention mine or mine gets brought up, because I don't often like mention it just in like random conversation. Usually it gets brought up because somebody finds out about it and then we talk about it. And it's like, yeah, I'll tell you what we do. But like, it's not that I'm like, unwilling to self-promote, but like now is not the time for that, so like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm not a podcast person. Then they'll come back around and be like, oh well, I was just listening to Kelsey's wife's podcast and da-da-da. And it's like, the only reason that her podcast is successful is because she's married to somebody who was successful in sports, and you know her name. If she was just a random broad off the fucking street, you probably would never have listened to that. You would not know what she's doing or care that she's a parent of a kid, and her parenting style might be contrary to a lot of what people think. But because she is, you're going to tune in. And I think that that's probably the biggest like irritant to me about podcasting as a like an organism, is that so many famous people already are jumping into podcasting, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But their success is like instantaneous. But it's not because their podcast is good. It's not because they're having different conversations than any other podcast. It's simply because you already know their name. Yet those same people don't, you know, share a post or like a thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're surprised when you feel bad about a thing, and they're like, oh well, like why do you? And that emotional bank, like I said, is just, it's like, well, have you put money in this thing to then come and make that withdraw? And like I said, it sits with you weird, and enough time you're just kind of like, meh, I don't know. Transitioning from that, I shared this thing on my Facebook the other day, and it says, my toxic trait, I will mirror your vibe back and watch you get pissed off by your own energy. And I shared this, but then I shared it with the caption of my own that said, I've tried this, but it's hard to just be a shitty person. I don't care enough.
Mm-hmm.
I just move it along. And we've done the, you know, like, I can't hold a grudge. Is holding a grudge toxic or not toxic? What does it do? And that's an episode that you can go back and listen to that's already released. But at the same time, you know, we're just like, yo, you know, is this a situation of like, I mirror your trait back to you and you're pissed off because you're just expecting something different? And like, I came to realize the other day that like, I don't want to say that I get taken for granted or abused, but I'm just one of those people that like, I'm a grinder. I'll get the job done, you know, that I'm reliable and all of those facets. So like, it's easy for people to just be like, oh, hey, you go do that. And then it gets to a point where it's like, I stop feeling human and start feeling
Mm-hmm.
like a tool or like a robot. And like, I'm just supposed to be like in the wall waiting for you to be like, yo, we need this thing. Beep boop bop. And I pop out and do the thing. And then as soon as you're done, it's like, eh. So like, the deteriorating mental health side of it, like I said, the buddy check-in need, that's kind of where all that stems from, is like coming to those realizations, sitting there, not having emotional conversations and connections with people, stuck inside my head, having to sift through like, why do I feel this way? Why is this a problem? What is bugging me about this? And, you know, again, I say it all the time, doing the work of like reflecting and not looking at the feelings like, I'm angry, I'm pissed off, everybody owes me something, and looking
Mm-hmm.
at it like, what is it that I'm not getting, and why is this triggering to me? Why is this a problem? And circling back around to like having a dad that was in and out of my life, and a dad that would obligate me to do things instead of like making it so like I chose to do them, making it so like I had no choice but to do it with guilt. And that is a super tender scar that is still easily opened. And I got to remember that that's what it is, you know? You had a thought. You were doing the thought face.
Oh, I just sometime I need you to just sit down and do like a compilation of just like when I'm physically trying to just like keep my mouth shut. Your tool analogy just perfectly articulated my frustration with my current job. We've talked a lot about, like, not a lot, but like I've mentioned about it off camera. I don't know how much on camera I've actually talked about it specific to this season, but it's been like a recent revelation of, I love the work that I do. Building cases and chasing bad guys is not enough for me to tolerate being disrespected, not taken seriously, underappreciated, and definitely under fucking paid.
Mm-hmm.
So that, like, all of that was you just perfectly explained of like, yeah, I know I'm good. I'm quick. I'm resourceful, I'm responsible, I'm creative. I can
Yep.
help you build whatever it is that we're trying to build to help put bad guys where they belong, or girls, when, you know, we see it all.
Bad people.
Yes. That being said, a thank you from a case agent goes so fucking far.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's just, that's been a big thing on my personal mental health, is realizing that for so long I have been tolerating so much disrespect, but also lighting myself on fire in furtherance of a mission that would never do the same for me. The detriment of what it's like, the career, it's no longer enough. The chase of catching bad guys is no longer enough to justify a continuation of this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing PT. I'm trying to kind of switch gears in my career, all of that. So it's kind of like been a huge thing. I know we've talked about my workouts, all of that is something that I definitely vibed with Alyssa right away with as well. Unfortunately, homies, come to find out that like your mental health is better or whatever when you're like exercising.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I know I've been pretty open about my struggle with alcohol on past episodes. It's night and day. I was, for a while there, I was using it as a quick, easy switch for compartmentalizing work and home, and a easy button for relaxation. But it very quickly like turns into a slippery slope. I've been up and down that fucking slope so many times over the last 4 years. But now that I'm so honed in to the performance of my body, I have the data. I started feeding my Whoop, not a product plug because the membership's kind of expensive. I just am a data nerd. And I switched away from an Apple Watch because the screens are really distracting for me throughout the day.
Yeah.
But I started feeding the raw data from my Whoop into ChatGPT, and I'm kind of using it as like my personal trainer. It's helping me with supplements, helping me track my macros. And so to see the harm and strain that it puts on my body for like what I was using it as, has been a really helpful tool to help me reframe it. Like, it doesn't matter how many liquid IVs or waters I chug after it, no matter what I do. Even if I have one beer, I sleep worse, I have shittier recovery the next day, and then that just sucks everything out of my workout the next day.
Yeah.
So that alone has been a massive improvement. So I'm happy to at least report that on this buddy check-in, homie.
Good. So you made me think about something, and I don't remember what it was because it was towards the beginning of like your I don't want to say response, but like one of the things that like I realized I think I realized this maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, when I feel like I'm out of choices and I'm no longer in control of my own life, as far as like my decisions rest on the efforts of others. It like the more of those things that like start to teeter towards that side of the line, the more like uncomfortable and unhappy, and like I don't know how to exist in this, because I'm like we've talked about it with your sister, you know, like when she's got a problem, so you jump in and you just go straight to solve it mode. That is who I am at my core, and I like lean into that. So when it comes to like an issue, or like, you know, we got like 8 different projects we got to do, and I'm waiting for you to give a green light on this part or that part or this part on any given project, so I can't move forward until you decide something, but you don't decide things well. Like that then makes me sit idle, and sitting idle is like this is, I don't like this. No, why are we like, we could be moving forward. And I very much believe my life is linear, and it is always moving forward. And if I'm not learning something, if I'm not bettering myself or using that time for a purpose, then like it just feels weird. Like if the purpose is like, I'm going to sit here and watch friggin' Lone Survivor for the next 2 hours and then watch 13 hours after that. And then watch, American Sniper after that, because those are the movies I tend to go to when I told you that we already had this conversation. You're making faces, but we had this conversation.
I know.
Those are my like stress movies. And then I'm like, oh, I can tell that like I need to like take a reset and be like, yo, I need to go do something, or I need to like definitely jump into like another hobby so I can, like distance myself from this thing that's like not going anywhere right now, because like I always have to be moving forward and trying to, accomplish something. And it's like, man, this is a problem. So like I realized, maybe about a month ago that I was like falling into that same pattern where it was like a lot of what my life is, a lot of what my days at work are. And, when I come home, it's like decisions have to be made, but like I'm not in control of any of them, but I'm the one that has to execute on them. It just sucks, because it's like, I don't know how to exist in this thing. And it's like, is that the lesson, that it's like, I'm supposed to learn how to exist in this thing? And then it's like, no, because it's stupid, because there's like 3 choices and you can make any one of them. And if any one of them fail, we'll figure it out then. You're just choosing not to make a thing because you don't want to be responsible. So you're making me responsible instead of like just doing your part, and that's not fair to me. So like I started being like, well, I'm just gonna not make a decision myself, and if that's the case, then like we, like if it's at home and it's like dinner, it's like fine, we won't fucking eat, but guess what, I'll go in there and make myself food, and you guys will have to figure it the fuck out. And if it's at work, then it's like, yeah, that's a fucked up thing that happened, isn't it? I wish somebody would have thought of that before and gave you some options, but you chose not to do it. So
whole other rabbit hole at work. Same thing just happened to me.
I do want to give you some time, because you said you specifically wanted to talk about body image, and I would be remiss if I didn't, on this buddy check in with you about the thing that you asked to be checked in with about. So
I specifically wanted to talk about body image just because I had this revelation last week at therapy where like I talked about Alyssa in our Pretzely interview in therapy last week. And I was like, I'm so quick to just like jump down and ram positivity down other people's throats. And I cannot do the same thing for myself. Like I same type of indicators of like I'm not doing well is when my self-loathing and my like, hey, remember that one time that you said that awful thing 2 years ago that nobody probably remembers, but now we're just going to sit here and just like think about and ruminate on? That's not healthy. Why do you do that? What? My therapist was literally like, come on. If you heard anyone in your life be spoken to the way that you speak to yourself, you would throw fists immediately. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. You should hear what the inside of my head sounds like. If you don't like the way that I'm speaking out loud about myself, this is awful. But it was part of my frustration that I was like venting out with my therapist was that like, man, I really just cannot break past this time for my 400 meter. And it's not even a pace I can maintain for my entire 1.5 miles, but I'm so mad at myself. Like I've cut down on my vaping. I've started to ease off of it so that I can actually finally fucking quit, maybe, hopefully. But I've definitely reduced my use a lot. And I've been putting in the miles and I've been doing the work and it's just not good enough. It's not good enough. I'm not doing good enough. And she goes, okay, well then what was your 400 meter time in January of this year? I was like, I don't know. I wasn't fucking running in January. She said, exactly, bitch. You've only been doing this PT shit for 2 months. The progress that you've made in 2 months is insane. And my brother-in-law, my little sister just got married. I was like, yeah, look at this. Look at these biceps. Those weren't there 2 months ago. He was like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, I'm literally just at the track every morning. He goes, oh, you're getting like prison fit. You're not even like lifting. You're just doing push-ups. I was like, yep, sure. I guess I'm just getting prison fit.
Body weight is body weight.
Body weight is body weight. And guess what? After 2 months of daily push-ups, they still fucking suck and I'm still terrible at them. All this to say is like, I finally told I just got so frustrated. I was crying in therapy and I was like, I'm 30. I'm turning 31 next month. When am I going to like myself? And she just like sat back in her chair and she was like, I don't have the answer for that one. I don't have the answer for that one. Sorry. I was like, well, that's not helpful.
What am I paying you for?
Like, everything has been a moving goalpost specific to body image. My sister got married a couple months ago. I took semaglutide for a couple months because at that point I was really heavy, but I'm very tall and I wear baggy clothes, so I hide it pretty well. That helped a lot. Like I lost some weight with that. But now with this whole different iteration of what my body looks like and how my body feels, like it's still such a moving goalpost that I don't know if I will ever get to the point where I'm like, all right, now I'm enough. Now I'm this. So I'm still so frustrated that I'm 30 and I'm still trying to learn how to like myself and like my body. But I know I got muscles now and I've been putting some work in and I feel better and I'm nicer when I'm running multiple miles a day. Okay, I guess, or whatever.
So I'm gonna give you an experiment to try. And like, sorry to put it out here like this, but like, do you have a full length mirror? Like a full length, like person?
I surely do.
All right. So like, in the most friend way possible, stand in front of the fucking mirror naked and pick out one thing a day that like you're like, I like that. You cannot say a negative thing for 45 seconds while you're looking at yourself. You just pick out one thing that you like, and it could be like different, like my hair or my eyebrow is better than it was yesterday, whatever it is, and then no negative, like, and
flex.
Yep, exactly.
Flex it. Look at that.
Yeah, there you go. And you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna start talking positive about the things that like maybe when you were 15 you didn't like, and now like because it's part of your body, it's like, I didn't like that before, but like it's still a part of my body, so I accept it.
Oh, you say now I'm at 15. I also had another realization about body image, self-esteem, all of that, and it's the complete polar opposite end of the spectrum. I, like, about a month ago, isn't this so weird how humans operate? Our brains are Swiss cheese. It's so weird. Or at least mine is. I'm not going to speak on behalf of everybody. I had this realization that when I was 14, 15, 16, in the throes of drama at high school, getting picked on because of this, that, whatever, getting bullied, hating that I had very strict parents that didn't let me do anything. And I allowed myself to escape and was like, this is the version of myself that I want to be in the future. Like, I'm going to be this. This is who I like picture in a dream world, that this is what I'll grow up to be. I had a stark realization that I am so fucking close to that version that I dreamed lofty dreams of becoming that day, like those days in preteen years or in high school when I was like, this shit sucks. I just got to keep taking my punches to the chin because someday I'm going to grow up and this is the type of life I'm going to live. And this is the type of woman I'm going to be. And this is the type of family I'm going to have. And this is the type of job I'm going to have. I am so fucking close. Like, it's almost shocking to me when I sat back and realized that, like, I did it.
Yeah.
I'm her.
Yeah. And
just the
and
other
now
day, I heard
it's
a host
recorded.
say.
Yeah. So now it's recorded, and that's going to be a clip that I send you every time you're like, wah, 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 Kaitlin, wah.
I hate
like,
myself. This is so stupid. I'm so dumb.
We're not doing that. So we just went to a positive note, and I'm really glad you did it the way you did. And I'm going to hit on a super dark note, and this is a super real podcast, and we're a super real people, and this is a super real episode. So like, I've struggled with like passive suicide and suicidal thoughts like probably since I was a teenager. And the other night, like, I'm maybe like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe. Laying in bed, can't sleep, for various reasons. And if you have a spouse, you know what some of those various reasons are when their nasal passages are doing certain things. No shade there. But we sitting there like, fuck. And now I'm like definitely awake. I can't fall asleep. And I'm not afraid to say that, like, a lot of days I'm alive for my kids. And it's a hard way to be, but also like the thought of not being there to see them grow up or not see them graduate high school or whatever that thing is. And my, 4 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning brain laying there was like, if you were going to do it, you would have to wait until your youngest is at least 20 or maybe 21, so that like they're a full grown adult and they can, process things, and they got the best of you and they got the best of, a family situation, and they are fully who they're going to be, and no random person decided to start trying to undo the work that you're doing to make them good people because they thought they could. And it was like, are you trying to talk me into this or out of this? What is happening, brain? What are we doing? And that's very much indicative of how I just am, is all of the information that my brain took in that I was like, I don't know if I want to be here right now. I think I kind of just don't. And I thought, you know what? Like, my brain just told me, no, but you need to be here. And there are people that matter to you, that you matter to, most importantly, because they depend on you for just like their existence and imparting the things that like only you can. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you, brain. Like, now I'm going to be stuck on that thought. Like, man, now I feel bad, but also like proud, but also like I'm seeing what my brain is telling me of what my 15-year-old is going to be like in, what, like 12-ish years, So
Dude.
like it's just so wild to me. And in my 8-year-old in 12-ish years, what she's going to be like. And it's just so funny. So, driving to school the next day, one of the things that I really started taking to heart, maybe also probably about a month and a half ago, is like, if you leave, if you're, and talking to you, your life's journey, it sits with me almost every day, where I think how fast something can change and one parent could be gone or both parents could be gone. So like, if I am for some reason gone all of a sudden, and my girls don't know how to grill, or my girls don't know how to do some random thing that I could have taught them, but I just didn't because there wasn't like a need for it at the time, or I didn't take the time to do it because it was frustrating, or because it was just faster if I did it. It's very much like I'm telling them those things. We're having those conversations. We're doing those things. And like now it's turned to like 11, right? So we, on the way to school, I was talking to them about random things. And I think I shared it on our Instagram, but I used the picture of Leatherface, like the real Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the real like police video image. And it was like the last thing my cosmic brownie sees. But that picture is saved to my phone because Lincoln, when she was little, she stole my phone. And that was like her favorite thing to do as a baby, is she would fleet foot and jump and move across the couch, grab your phone, take a bunch of pictures, and then put your phone back before you came back, and you open your phone. There's like 50,000 pictures of her foot, but she was trying to put my phone back and somehow got it on like the black and white, like camera portrait thing. So like she's black and white, but it's like super like grainy. And it's like a like chaotic, wild face, but it's so blurry. And it just like immediately, and we call her the stabby one. So, so she puts she goes to put it back, and I open my phone. I was like, what the fuck is this picture? I was like, you know what she looks like? So I'm talking to the girls about life and things like that. And I brought up that story, and then I brought up those pictures because they're next to each other, because that's why they're there. And I was like, so this is, and I told them about, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and how that like the guy, the real dude, was down in the basement and they didn't clear the scene properly, and how like it, was like real footage, and dude, like the only like recorded image of him is this one. And they were like, that's creepy. And then I showed them the picture of my daughter, and they died in the car. And it's like, see, and in moments like these, this is why I'm here. And I'm not afraid to say that.
I'm really fucking proud of you. And if you're gonna embrace vulnerability and keep it real as fuck, I will say the same thing too. I've also dealt with those ideations, and I'm telling you, you're so fucking real for that. Some days I'm only alive because of my kids.
Yeah, I think it's a
Because
lot of parents like that.
which is so real. That's so real. Before my kids, some days, most days, all days probably, it's my kids. I'm like, I grew up with no mom. I can't continue that cycle.
Yep.
I know how much that fucking sucks. I don't want my kids to have a dead mom. That shit sucks. Sometimes it's my husband. I can't have a dead wife. I already lived that once. I already saw what it did to my dad when he had a dead wife.
Yeah.
Some mornings though, some days, is my sister.
Yeah.
I'm like, she always talks about how she's got bad luck. She's already got 2 dead parents. She can't have a dead sister too.
Yeah.
That's just too much.
Yeah.
Real as fuck. And then I will just be sitting on the couch cuddling with my toddlers, and my daughter will look up at me and she'll be like, "Mommy, I love you." But I love you too. You want a donut? You're so cute. But that's so real. And another indicator that maybe I'm not doing well. I have a need that's not being met.
Yeah. So I said that, and I wanted to say that at a specific time and point in the episode so that we could end with some positive, right? So we're getting ready to go into the summer. I know you got a lot of stuff with like work and your PT and everything, but like, what's one thing that you're looking forward to this summer? Just one. Doesn't have to be crazy. It could be going to the fucking pool because it's finally open. I don't care. It could be, you know what? I'm excited that I'm going to look good in a bathing suit because I felt like I didn't look good the last 2 years. Whatever you got.
That might be it. I think my lack of an immediate answer is probably an indicator I need to plan a vacation soon. Because the summer's hot. I'm excited to spend the summer in the air conditioning, too cold, in my sweatpants because I hate being outside. But real answer is I'm excited. Soon we're going down to Texas, as my brother calls it. I have a picture of me holding my niece, my first niece, when she's 4 days old. And now I blinked and we're going to go watch her graduate high school.
Oh, wow.
So to watch her, to be here, to watch her, to see her transition into this new stage of adulthood and leaving the nest and seeing how my sister-in-law is dealing with it as a mother and knowing that I'm going to be there some days, like that's been a whole other family fun thing. But that is one thing that I am excited is to celebrate her. She is a smart, sharp fucking kid with a sweetheart. And believe it or not, Matt, she is related to me and she doesn't cuss at all. She hates cussing.
That's fun.
She's just a good kid. What about you, Matt? What are you doing this summer?
I mean, if you follow, I think I posted it to our, some of it to our like Homes Room Instagram, but we have a rooftop tent. We have a bunch of stuff that we've been putting together to go, do some overlanding camping and, extended trips. And I'm excited about trying to get some of those planned. We have one that we've been mapping out. Shout out to OnX. It's a off-road mapping system. That's an app, and you can it's got everything you need to plan out a trip, including like waypoints and markers for items or places or whatever you have. And it's open source, so it does everything you need it to do, and anything that anybody else also uploads you can get access to if they share it or if they make it public. So you can go do things that other people have already mapped out and done. That's kind of what it is. But yeah, mostly I'm just excited to try and have a good summer with my girls, because it was put this way, and once you hear it this way you can't unhear it. But you have 17 summers with your kids before they're kind of gone, and you might think 18, but by the time they get to that 18th one they're pretty much on their own, and you're not going to see them because they're going to be doing a bunch of things on their own. And so it's I got a 15 about to be a 16-year-old, so we only have so many more summers before she's gone and out and doing her own thing. So this summer I told her, I know you want a job, I know you want to start earning those responsibilities. I want you to be a kid for at least one more summer. We'll talk about it again later, but like, I want you to enjoy everything you can enjoy this summer for sure, because like you're about to be a sophomore and you will only increasingly find stress in school. It will not necessarily get easier.
Yep.
And until maybe your senior year of high school, because if you do everything right the first 3 years, your senior year is pretty much easy. You just have to make sure you don't shit the bed. So we're excited about, hopefully doing some fun stuff for summer. So yeah, like I said, I wanted to end on a positive note. Also, you're awesome, and don't think that you're not. And one thing that I think that we've done as co-hosts is try and foster like an open and honest relationship. And I think that like that's a thing that you need to remind yourself of. Maybe you need a sticky note on your fucking computer. Open and honest, because that's how we thrive. Because legitimately, when we're open and honest and we have deep conversations, those are the ones that people listening are like, fuck yeah, you guys are awesome. I feel like I know you so well because like I feel that, I know that. And when we do that, I think that's when we're our most successful. What do you think?
I'm going to definitely do that. I think that will be a really good visual reminder. I think I'm a visual reminder type person, Matt.
Yeah, that's why I got sticky notes and like notebooks and all sorts of other shit going on. So yeah.
I really hope. Listen, homies, we have a tendency on these buddy check-ins that we just kind of yap for an hour, and I just trust that Matt has a plan, a method to the madness. And let me tell you, I didn't think I was going to be open and honest on the internet about struggling with some of these thoughts that we talked about this fucking episode. Holy shit. That being said, if that's something that you've also dealt with or struggled with, you're seen, you're heard, it's fucking valid. You're like, we've all been there. But let us know if anything that we said in this episode resonated with you. We would love to hear some feedback. If you like these types of episodes, or if there's topics that you want to hear or want us to explore, or you want us to bicker about, because sometimes we are on opposite ends of the opinion spectrum. Please let us know. But yeah, you're way cooler, Matt.
So big shout out to 99. Next time you hear us, it will be 100, and I think that that's awesome. So help us celebrate that. Share with your friends. My homies have 100 episodes of a podcast. Go listen to it. My homies have 100 episodes of a podcast. I haven't listened to one, and that's the crazy, but also still go listen to it. Whatever you got to do. Also, this is like super on like the like whiniest I'll probably ever be about it. Spotify changed the way that they are tracking plays and things like that now. So our episodes will show up with what is essentially looking like 0 plays, because the way they're categorizing them is different. So if you see an episode and it's got 0 plays and you listen to it, yes, we know you're listening out there. I can see it on this side. You might not be able to see it on that side. Just bear with us. Hopefully they'll fucking change it back, because that's just it literally is pigeonholing a smaller podcast in favor of larger podcasts. So we're going to get buried because it looks like nobody's listening. And I assume it's a ploy to maybe get their platform shrunk. I don't know. Either way. So keep listening, keep reviewing, tell Spotify to like do nice things and not kill a small podcast. Cause that's, kind of what makes them is that like everything is on there. But you can still listen to us on Apple. You can still listen to us anywhere else. You can listen to us on the internet, web browser. That has actually become the more popular platform that we are listened to. So whoever's listening on a web browser, thank you, because you're the one.
Are you at work? Let us know if you're at work.
Yeah, let us know if you're at work. Yeah, why it's web browser? Yeah.
Why are you web browser? What are you doing?
Yeah, you can comment on this episode and let us know where you're listening, what you're listening on, because I think that would be awesome. But yeah, other than that, if you got a boss babe and you want to shout them out, let us know in the comments, in the DMs, wherever. We need more boss babes for this, coming boss babe season.
Yes, we do.
Hey, Kaitlin.
We love you guys.
We just checked in. Are you good, buddy?
I'm good, buddy. Are you good, buddy?
I'm good. The bell is about to ring. If you want to drop us a voice message or simply ask a question, you can do that by clicking the link in the show notes below. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review. It helps more people find us. Theme music by Kinsey. More music available on Spotify. Remember, every day is a class. Go learn something.